Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine yourself as a family member of a person who is waiting for their cancer diagnosis. The moments of silence are unbearable. You have been waiting for days. Hopefully, the results come within the next week or so. We need accurate results fast. That is where Vaulted comes in. Our ethos is to revolutionize current scientific technology to create quick and efficient medical diagnoses, helping patients and families to get through moments of crisis. For determining whether a person has cancer, the process involves taking a biopsy, which is then analyzed using the following immunohistochemistry workflow. As you can see, 85% of the time conducting an immunohistochemistry protocol is spent on cutting tissue using the cryostat. Our journey in TRAM started from the experiences we had in the lab. We identified that there was a problem with the process of analyzing histology samples in academic research. We realized that human resources in the medical field are being wasted. We hypothesized that if those in academia needed critical, fast outcomes, this could only be more problematic for high-throughput histology platforms and pharmaceutical company research divisions looking to get more rapid results in a competitive market. Therefore, if we could speed up the cutting of a biopsy, we could get a cancer diagnosis in 1 to 2 days instead of the 7 to 10 days for some cancers. We identified 4 main customer groups that are affected by the utility of current methods. The 4 groups included academia, histology platforms, in-house hospital services, and pharmaceutical companies. For those who are unaware what a histology platform is, they are a third-party service that receives and processes a large quantity of biopsy samples from various customers. We thought that these 4 groups had the same problem, in that the current method of histology preparation included a slow and laborious manual processing of tissue samples for histology processing. Our technological solution wants to cut down the time and resources spent on this process and develop a technology that can provide fast and standardized slicing of tissue samples for analysis and cut down up to 80% of the time spent on these processes. We suppose that for these 4 customer groups, the main bottleneck in achieving fast diagnosis and rapid research output had to do with the amount of time spent using the cryostat to process tissue samples. By creating an automated machine that could slice tissue samples and mount them onto slides for analysis, we would create benefits for all these groups. Throughout the TRAC program, we conducted various customer interviews with members of the ecosystem of each customer group. What we found is presented in this Venn diagram, which presents all the problems that each sector faces in terms of histology. We know that this is a busy diagram, but we'll break it down for you. The outside shows the problems that are unique to each individual customer segment. For example, academia had concerns with student training because they come from a lower scientific skill level. On the other hand, some main concerns for hospital services were that they required customization depending on the tissue type. But most importantly, there were shared problems that were faced by all these customer groups. These included training and education of staff, antibody validation, and low throughput customization. To delve deeper, the ability to train and educate staff was a main problem brought up across all groups. Meanwhile, antibody validation ranked 3rd. And to our surprise, tissue slicing was one of the lower importance problems faced by these groups for various reasons. For example, academia didn't care about cutting speed because students were free labor. On the other hand, histology platforms were more concerned with the cost of wasting reagents rather than the cost of hiring staff to cut tissue. At the start of our TRAM track journey, we had assumed that the problems faced by these groups was one-dimensional, in the sense that the most pressing concern was to increase the speed of tissue slicing during histology. From conducting the customer interviews, we found out that the problems intrinsic to histology practices are multidimensional. Although manual tissue slicing is a concern for these customer groups, we discovered that there are more important concerns to be addressed. Throughout the TRAC program, we found out a lot about the problems that are faced by the field who conduct immunohistochemistry protocols. From gaining a lot of insights about shortfalls in histology, the next step forward for Vaulted is to pivot our solutions to the main problems that have been brought up by these customers. We believe we can solve a big part of the main problems faced by all fields, including educating staff and antibody validation, with a simple solution. The focus of our solution tackles multiple problems that histology faces. Combining programming, data mining, and AI, we believe our solution can be used across all customer segments. Thank you for your attention. Feel free to email me or my colleague anytime.